This is Tony Poulos at TM Forum's Management World Conference in Dublin. I have with me today Nick Ogden, who is the CEO of Voice Commerce and UK's Entrepreneur of the Year for 2010. Nick, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
We're interested in this event, in your particular presentation. We started to talk about the differences the differences between the finance industry and the telco industry. We don't seem to be getting together too closely on certain things. Why do you think that is?
I think it's quite interesting. You've got two very, very large markets, and they're dominated by very, very large companies. And I think they've missed the plot. They seem to have this view that their common customer, a consumer, is for some reason owned by them individually, and they don't want to share it. And so if the telco is looking at doing mobile payments, it thinks, well, you know, we'd like to do this, it makes sense, we've got 5 billion consumers using our handsets, we operate the network, and so there's a degree of logic of them being involved in the ecosystem. And then the banks say, oh, you can't do that because you're going to be eating our lunch, because they're our customers as well. And you end up with this huge amount, I think you probably call it fudge, that stops the whole process working. And the net of that is that both of those organisations lose out, because the consumers will end up in any event making their own decisions.
You were very successful in the past with a venture called WorldPay. How did that survive, that relationship between the mobile or the telco world and the finance world?
Well, we sort of sit in the fintech space, all right? One of the advantages of sitting in the fintech space is that you can either try and be very clever at two things: financial services and technology, and the operation of financial services and technology, and then appear to partner in the middle, appear to act as a bridge. And that's what we tried to do, and it works very, very well. The role that we have had both in WorldPay and now in Voice Commerce Group is that we are an operator. We're a principal member of Visa and MasterCard, so we're like a retail bank, but we're neutral. We don't have this customer ownership baggage to drag along. And so what we can do is basically take a position to try and help enable the process and make it all work. And WorldPay was the same. It was more of an enabler of a solution for the benefit of the customers, and the economics worked, so there was a bit of revenue to share around. But you know, individually, if you step it back to, you know, would a bank be able to do that? Probably not, and they probably wouldn't be good at fintech anyway, because, you know, banks traditionally are good at asset management, not at innovation. And, you know, telephone companies are great at apparently running fat pipes, whatever the hell they are, and probably also not good at running payment systems.
We have had pockets of success around the world with M-payments run by mobile companies, and M-banking in particular in Africa, as we know. But it doesn't seem that we're very good at linking up with the credit card companies in a big way. There are a number of attempts at the moment. But then we see the announcement that Google has joined up with Visa and MasterCard to put an NFC solution on an Android phone. How is that going to affect the industry? And do you think that's going to be a barrier? Will they be over the top players now instead of working with us?
I think that one of the things I was trying to explain this morning was that the financial services have got this brand thing sorted out. Whether it's right or wrong doesn't really matter, but every consumer, well, I think the statistic is about 3.6 billion consumers carry a card in their pocket that has either the Visa or MasterCard logo on. Now, their relationship isn't with Visa or MasterCard, it's with the bank that they had the card issued from. Telcos have the same relationship. You know, have a Vodafone relationship or a Bharti or a Telefonica relationship. It doesn't matter, but they haven't got managed this overarching brand capability. And so, you know, when you go overseas with your phone, it roams. Roaming's not a brand. And I think that the absence of that has created some barriers. The telecoms industry have got some fantastic success stories. M-Pesa is an incredible success story. I was at a OMFIF conference, which is like a subset of the IMF, before Christmas, talking to the governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. And he was explaining to me that in Kenya in 2005, they had 2 million unbanked, right, who were using M-Pesa to pass money around. By 2010, that figure had grown to 10 million. And they had also started to develop deposit accounts alongside their payment transfer accounts. That would not have been possible without Vodafone Safaricom, because it would only work because there was a mobile network that allowed the communication element of the transaction flow. And it's ironic that all of these systems work, and you can take a whiteboard and you can say, okay, let's put up these things and see where the similarities lie. And then for some reason, it doesn't proliferate, if that's the way to say it.
Yeah. Do you think in the future we will get a bit of a change in mentality, or is it too late for the telco industry to become, a big player in the financial transactions?
I think I don't think they will be a player in relation to ownership, in the same way that the banks won't be a player in relation to ownership, because it's the consumer now who will make the choices. That's largely driven by the emergence of the smartphone apps, Android, Apple, whatever they are, and the fact that you can create a whole range of interesting applications which give a consumer a reason to do something. Now, do I have a reason to use a phone company? Yes, I do. I want to make phone calls. Do I have a reason to use a bank? Yes, I do. I need to move money about. But to do something that really makes me change, like adopting e-money or something, there has to be a compelling reason to do that. And the 5 billion mobile phone users around the world all will be opening new accounts to support e-money. Now, they're either going to be doing them in partnership with the mobile phone carriers, the telco carriers, or not in partnership with them. And as I was saying earlier, the time that this is going to take to get into place is now relatively short, probably a 3.5 to 4 year window before mobile payments and e-money become as ubiquitous as email. And so they're going to have to move.
So what can the telco industry do to amend the situation?
I think they need to move very, very quickly. Their consumers are going to be opening these accounts. These accounts are going to be using a range of different services, biometric identities and various other things. And they need to start forming relationships whereby they play to their strengths. They have strengths. They seem to not understand them. The strengths are, as far as I can see, the customer base they have and the management of that customer base. They have great customer support capabilities. Use that, leverage it, form relationships whereby you can be part of the revenue stream, and the revenue stream is long-term downwind, goes for a long, long time, and form those relationships and let the other person who understands the financial part do that for you rather than trying to copy it and messing it up.
It's great advice, and it's been a great honour having you with us today, Nick. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.